Watch this. See this? This is how you set the timing. See the coil wire? See, it's not on the cap. Took it off the cap, stuck it between the spring and the carb lever. Watch. See it? That's accurate timing. You don't need a light. Now this car was set with a strobe light by the book because it got this thing on it. So if I check that timing while it's not running, 10 degrees. The way you check this thing is you suck on it, make sure it doesn't leak. But if it's working and it's hooked up right to this is feeding from air that's under the throttle plate, this pipe. So if you pull this off, which it's really tight, and it's running, the idle will go way up because the timing is going to look like it advances over to here someplace. If you have a strobe light, and if you've got a digital tack, and you're watching it fluctuate, they're always going to fluctuate. But if they fluctuate really bad, it's probably the points. The surface, the contact surfaces are dirty, and it's not even, or there's no lube on the cam. You got to put a little micro amount of lubricant on the cam for the points to rub on. Now this car here, it's all original as far as the distributor and the pulley. Now any car that's got this is going to have a dimple right there. You see this dimple? It's kind of hard to see it. See, there it is. There's the dimple. If you see a dimple, that means this mark is 5 degrees after top dead center. And there won't be a mark on this side. But this is eyeballed 10 degrees. I've set them a lot of times. That's 10 degrees. So what I usually do with these is when I'm going to get it running, I'll set it to 10 and start it and check it with the light and see where it is. And usually you want a couple degrees advanced at idle when you're checking it with the light, when you've got this thing working. But again, this will tell you which pulley you have. So if you see that dimple, it looks like somebody tapped it with a ball peen hammer. That means this one on the left is 5 degrees. But the thing is this. If you haven't done this a lot and you're trying to find number one and you want to adjust your valves or do this, set the timing, all you have to do is turn the engine so these marks are near this and the rotor's pointing at the wire. See that's play in the shaft that makes it do that. It's opening and closing our points. See, that's normal. But anyway, so the rotor's always going to point to number one cylinder. If the engine's been running okay, the wires are probably connected right. So the rotor is going to point at 1 when it's on 1. And you just go over here and find number 1 and see if this wire goes to it, which it does on this. And you're on 1. And then you can begin to adjust your valves if you're going to do that. But as far as the setting the timing goes, what you do is, this timing is right. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it counterclockwise to take up slack in the gears. And now when I start moving it this way, it's going to go through the play in the gears, if there is any. And now we know the gears are really pushing on each other with no backlash. And right when this passes that mark, you heard the spark, right? And that's the easiest way to set the timing. There's no reason for any lights. Unless you want to check, if you set this at 10 and you want to check it and see where it is when it's running, if you did this right, this will probably be just slightly, if at all, advanced that would be to the right side of this mark, which is 5 degrees after top dead center. That means the spark happens after the piston starts going down. This one means the spark happens right before it reaches top dead center, just a zillionth of an inch away from it starting to reverse direction and start going down. That's when this spark happens. That's the reason this is like that. This is because hydrocarbons are lower when the timing is retarded. And so what they did, they go, how can we trick this car into thinking that the timing is at 5 degrees when it's idling? Well, they put it there with this setup, with this vacuum retard. But as soon as you do this, you just move the throttle a little bit, this thing jumps over here someplace when it's running. It'll just jump. But this is just basically duct tape to make a car pass smog at idle. That's what this is. That's duct tape. So now you know all about timing. But again, when you're doing this, you go all the way. You go to the, let me see, I can't remember. I go over this way, and I move it and see if the spark happens, which is 10 on this, is the right white mark. and it passes this point on the case, the split, and as soon as it passes it, click. You don't need a light. So if you have one of these and you don't have a strobe light, you can do it like this, 10 degrees, right there, with this distributor static time. And don't forget, this points at 1. If the car is running okay, this is going to point to the spark plug wire that goes to number 1. So if you're not sure, you just look at the spark plug wire and see if this is the one connected to 1. And if it is, you got it in the right place. If it's not, and it's on the notches are in this, or the marks are in this position, in this vicinity, and it's not pointing at number 1, it's going to be pointing at number 3. And if it's pointing at number 3, you just turn it at 360 degrees and you should be over here. That's how you set the timing on a Volkswagen.